Hello everyone. I wanted to jump quickly before I lose my inspiration. I haven't been on for some time, so that just came in. Inspiration came in. It was building up and building up. I guess I had a block and couldn't really speak for some time for different reasons. And I was just watching a reel of someone saying that influencers say influencers say I haven't been on for a long time and maybe you have missed me or you haven't seen me here for some time, and she was just implying that no one cares, like no one is really saying why they haven't been on something for a long time, or no one was really looking forward to listen to or watch someone. So it's kind of, as does anyone care? Does anyone really pay attention of how frequent my podcast is? But I know that when I am subscribed to the podcast, especially Aaron Doughty, that I really love, and he is inspiration to me because he is so optimistic and he gives me energy. I guess he gives me this optimism that I need. Every time I listen to him, I would be closer to recording my own podcast. I don't know what it is in him that just inspires me like that. It's just I have just opened my podcast, my Apple podcast, and I've seen him uploaded 1.5 hour podcast that was really kind of pushed me to do that and go and upload something. I'm sorry if I am mumbling, but that's, if you are gone so far, then good for you. I wanted to talk to you today about blocks and things in your life that might be preventing you from doing things. I definitely experience a lot of procrastination. So first thing is procrastination, and the second thing is I've been reading this morning and about setting goals and working in a corporate environment. For some reason I hate not hate, take it back. I dislike the whole kind of performance cycle. I find it very not real. I find it that is just set up artificially, but I can see also that this is hard to set yourself goals and to set clear steps to achieve those goals. I guess because for me, I love freedom. I love when there's no kind of clear borders, and I never liked plans. I can go without the plan and I just know what I need, and I just the goals kind of and the steps kind of, they just appear. I like structure. On the other hand, I like structure. I like when everyone knows what they are doing around me, and I like what I am doing, and if I am given clear directions, and then within those clear directions I can then go and say this is gonna work, this is not gonna work for me. But setting clear steps and setting clear goals, even talking about this, it kind of gives me shivers. This is how much I dislike it. It to me is very square box, is something that maybe it's because I don't understand it from the beginning. And the example of this is that I am now doing the one of these qualifications, and I started it last year, and it took me a couple of months or even more to at least to 8 months to really come to grips of how this works. So the structure of the program, to understand the structure and to understand how I should approach this program, took me longer than the actual knowledge in the program. And what I understood is that the knowledge, and it's not even about the knowledge, is the knowledge is there, and it would be really good to, if I was just to read everything. The program or the study that I am undertaking is about learning, is about studying. It's about the different approaches that people in the corporate environment, but obviously everything that is used in the corporate environment is taken from psychology and from the research that has been done. And psychology for me, and this is what I'm trying to do in this podcast, is about connecting the mental, the spiritual, and the metaphysical, because it's all connected. So what I'm doing now in the corporate environment is really, for me, it's connecting to the spiritual as much as I can do that, because otherwise I wouldn't like what I was doing. And this connection of human behaviors, of how they learn, how they interact, how they perform, how they collaborate, how they form relationships. This is encompassed in what I'm doing right now at the moment in the corporate environment. We cannot escape from that. There is spirituality everywhere, spirituality in everything. And even if you don't see that, sooner or later, if all the other elements are filled, you'd be missing something, you'd be looking for something that is missing. And the part that is very much missing often is the spiritual part. I'm also reading now a book by Michael Levin, and it's called Spiritual Intelligence. In this book, he does talk about the fact that you have to, which actually is talked about the realm of relationships, that you have to have your basic needs fulfilled. So your Maslow theory. So you have to have your bodily function fulfilled. So you have to be fed, right? You have to be fed to the level of your need. You have to have shelter, and all those basic human needs need to be fulfilled for the spiritual needs to then be approached or started to be fulfilled. Obviously, when I'm thinking about this, now we're kind of going back to having the kind of starving ourselves, right? So not eating anything for hours, no end, for like 12 hours, where we put this our body into this state of not having food. But we do it by choice. It's not that we are not, we cannot afford it, or we are not provided with this. We are doing it by choice, and these are different food hacks, and we kind of come back to eating very little. Our bodies also transform, so a lot of people is kind of now thinking of going into nature and having a life that you'd more fight for survival, so to speak. Obviously, it's a little bit twisted, because what I see on Instagram is people wanting to go to nature and kind of come off the grid while having a steady income of a really good functioning business that is very much rooted in 3D, and this way finance their living in the nature, in the wild, not being connected to 3D or to the mainstream, and also using internet and Instagram. So I guess for their business. So I guess the balance in these, the balance in everything is the key. So your needs have to be filled, your basic needs, your bodily needs, because you do have a body. And with this, you have to understand that. And I'm still kind of finding this balance and the struggle between striving for having money and those kind of being fulfilled financially, and also then being fulfilled spiritually. So going back to setting clear steps, I really struggle with that. I like to meander. I like to, or maybe it's easier for me to meander of not having those steps, and I still have to figure out why. I guess it's about having a very clear structure puts me in a fear of being too having too tight, controlling kind of forces around me. And in a way, I feel good in that if someone puts it and gives it to me. But on the other hand, I run away from this and I want to break free. And again, I guess with this is just finding balance of having clear goals and then having the steps, but also not to see those steps as something that is putting me in like a prison of steps that I cannot go and do anything else. But I guess having this agility in those steps. Or the other way, the other scenario is going through the steps like I'm doing with this learning. Once I found those steps, the steps of achieving those goals, the steps of writing this assessment. So they are very clear of you. I have to look in this place for this guide. This guide gives me clear direction. Once I look at the guide and I look at each and every question and answer, how it should be formulated, then I go into learning, and then I start writing my assessment based on these very clear guides. But when I first started this program, I was really rebelling against that. I was saying there's too many rules, there's too much guidance, why I cannot just go and write the assessment as a free writing, right? There's so much writing an assessment. It's not a free writing. It's not as if you were writing a book. It's not as you are just free writing as a journaling or something like that. Journaling, I love. Journaling does not have any rules. You don't obviously have to make any references. You don't have to do citations, and it's just very free and it's just very open. Whether writing the assessment is so heavily ruled, there are such a strict guidances. Although I think I'd also make them even stricter in my head, because actually people who are checking this, I don't think it's possible to check for every rule and for every piece of a little guidance to if I broke it or not. That's how I see those rules in my program. I see them as very heavy. I see them as very I shouldn't break them. But in reality, I think that people who are checking this, they are not as strict. And actually I find now that I am feeling more successful. I don't know if that's a good, that I achieved something, because that was like a breakthrough when I finally understood where I was going, where I should go to find the rules, where I should go to find the guidance, and have like a way that I can encompass all of those guidance and rules. I was really struggling with it for the last 10 months before I captured this. There was a big part of rebellion, then like I was negating that. I was saying that it's a stupid program and so heavily ruled. And I still think that these rules are really quite strict, and I'm struggling, but I know that I am in much better place when I was in the beginning. And again, I can, because I am learning through the program, and the knowledge is actually super interesting, is that the way that they are checking the knowledge, so through the assessment, and they want the assessment to be quite research heavy and quite structured. For everyone who is in the university or writing some research papers, I'm sure you understand, and I'm even sure that you are much more structured than me. I was studying linguistics, I was studying language, and somehow in my language study I never had to write such a research paper or assessment paper such as that. This is a very new way for me. I always felt in my writing more like that was just writing from creation rather than sticking to the hard rules and not really being able to give as much of my opinion, or even if it's my opinion, I have to give the reasons that are obviously based on some other research. So it's never going to be my opinion. I can argue between two methodologies by giving the by giving the research of those two methodologies as my argument. So there is not a space for creativity, and for me it's hard, but I am happy that I can prove myself and kind of strive in these restrictions. And also the other thing is that the goals that I have are moving. So, and I've been achieving those goals as well. So the goals from when I was like 30 maybe, and also from when I was 40 years old. These are the goals that in a way, I've achieved them. In a way, I've achieved them. They are never, when you achieve a goal, and also Aaron and many other people are talking about this, when you achieve the goal, it's never like you can stay in this achievement for long. To live and to develop, you are going to set yourself another goal. So achieving this one goal is amazing and it lasts for a moment, and sports people would say that, and everyone else, but it can also like deflate you, so it can make you flatter. So the going to achieving a goal gives you energy, and you kind of strive, and you are tired, and this is something that powers you and quickens you up, sometimes slows you down, but quickens you up. You have this goal and you are trying to reach the goal, and then you reach the goal. It looks maybe a little bit different than you've imagined, right? You are in it, and now you are looking around and you are like, oh, that's how it looks like. That's how it makes me feel. And very often you think, I thought it was going to make me feel different than that. I thought that once I achieve this goal, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to just sit down and enjoy it. You enjoy it maybe for a week, maybe for a year, maybe for 2 years. And then once the 2 years are done, you are like, okay, what's next? And then the reality that was your goal becomes your normal reality. So it's just like a regular thing that you regularly just have. And you stop seeing this as achievement, you sit on it, and then you start looking around and saying, what else? What's next? And for me, those things I always knew I was going to have. So to have or to be or to experience. So in a way, I live as if I had it, but also I know that I don't. So this makes me agitated, because there's as almost as that two realities happening in the same time. Very often, or sometimes when I was a adolescent or a child, just hitting adolescent, and I was living in times when we didn't really have access or couldn't readily or easily buy fancy new clothes, and I was really into fashion or clothes, whatever, or I was really getting my self approval from wearing new clothes, and I didn't have access to them. I would want them so hard that I would dream about them, and I thought, and the dreams were so intense that I have those new clothes just folded on a chair next to me when I wake up. And I was so happy about them, and I was just thrilled to have them, and they came from the believable source, so they were sent from abroad or somewhere. And then I woke up, and then the clothes were not there, and I was so disappointed, because the reality, I was so into the fact that I already had that when I woke up and it wasn't there, I was just devastated. I don't think I had dreams like this since, that the dreams about clothes were so real. And I think now I sometimes leave this reality that I am in something and that I have something, and I create it in my mind, and then something happens that tells me, oh, maybe you are not there yet, or I interpreted it this way, that I am not there yet. And this way I get very frustrated and I get fed up, and it kind of slows me down in whatever I am doing. So I work on this, and currently with all the eclipses and also being under the weather, and I totally agree with the fact that the new year starts in April. That's when the nature wakes up. That's when the everything kind of come up and to bloom, and it's warmer, and that's where the body goes into a different mode. So maybe the calendar, whatever tells us, is January, and it might be a certain point because it's the energy of the agreement and how people celebrate it. But the real New Year, that I am sure I don't remember, but I guess many people, and probably could be researched, many people say that this is the actual new year, must start in April, because I definitely feel like there is new energy, like there are things that you want to do. Obviously, there is brighter, and once I finish work, there is still some day to do things, to go out. There's still bright enough, and it's sunny. The sun gives me energy, and definitely it's not coincidence that I had this breakthrough with my program in April, so not long ago, and I feel like now it's gonna go much quicker than it was going from September last year throughout to the whole winter. I was not able to do nothing. I was not able to do anything. I was just going so slow in those months. I guess it's just something to embrace. I guess I'm always saying that I'm finding that you need to let yourself rest. And some people, I think especially women, they need more rest, they need more sleep, and I don't care. That's what it is. That's how we are built. We are working in our sleep realm. We are working all the time. We are just giving more energy. We're just giving more of ourselves by being. just by exmitting energy on the neighbors, on the bus drivers, people around us, our animals, our plants, just everything that's around us. And men do it in a different way. I am not men, so I don't know. I just observe men, and I think that they keep this energy more inside. And I just use it in a different way, building muscles. I don't know. Whatever it is, maybe I can cover it in the next episode, one of the next episodes. If you're a man and listening to this, I'm sure you want, if you have women around you, and if you feel into that, because you definitely have this ability to feel into that, you can say feminine energy. That's something that is talked about. Feminine energy is very light, right? It's very encompassing, is loving, and all of this. And for this, then we would need more rest, because that's where the energy is produced. When we rest, when we are in a kind of state that we don't go around and exert this energy. My grandmother, who was a very wise woman and had a very long life, but for the last of 20 years of her life, she wasn't really well. But she was very wise in a way that wise women were, that were born in last century, before the First World War. And she always said woman is, how do I translate it? Woman is created to lay down and smell nice. It doesn't sound that great in English. I'm sure there's a better translation. But for me, what it means, it does not mean that woman shouldn't do anything, or woman should not be active, or should be businesswoman, or so on and so forth. Yes, that's all is fine. But every now and then, women need rest, and she would need to be in her womanity, or in her femininity. And it might be different to everyone. It might be for you that you, I don't know, take a boat trip, or rowing, or some, I don't know why rowing came to me, but just something, being on the river and having a leisurely and having something to yourself, for yourself. Because I am sure that no matter how bossy and how business-like, and how many companies you have, and so on and so forth, I'm sure that if you think about it, you do enjoy lounging down, or doing something that it's maybe more connected to the femininity, be it bath, or meeting with friends, or somewhere, something like that. I believe that, and I think the book and the Spiritual Intelligence, which I actually really recommend, so it's Michael Levin in Spiritual Intelligence. He was saying about the energy that's in us, and that the energy does not die. The energy is either expelled and then create something else, or is just within us, and then it can create sometimes not positive things within us. So that's why we kind of give, and it's best when the energy flows. When the energy is blocked this way, negative things might be created. I think that's it for today. I think I've spoken and talked enough, and thank you for listening if you got so far. I hope you find something useful. I now have also Instagram as Hannah Talks. So if you'd like to reach out to me, I'd be welcome to answer any of your questions, and I speak to you next time. It was really lovely talking to you. Bye.